Today's recipe is Jewish chicken with stuffing, originally from a 13th century Arabic cookbook found in Spain.
Greetings. It's been some time since I've made a cooking video. I finished my outdoor kitchen in the spring, but it's been too hot here in Phoenix to actually cook outside this summer. It was over 110, 115 degrees every day, so it made it really hard to cook outside over an open fire. So it's cooled off now. It's December, 80 degrees, beautiful weather, time to start cooking again. So I've got my fire going. I'm going to let it die down to some coals, and then I'm going to start cooking a Jewish chicken dish today.
Today's recipe comes from the book SEPHARDI, Cooking the History, Recipes of the Jews of Spain and the Diaspora from the 13th century to today by Helene Jawhara Piner. From the introduction to this book, it says, "This cookbook is unique. It is not based on family recipes, but on the history of the Jewish people from Spain, and by extension, the Sephardim, from the 13th century to the present day. It is a cookbook derived from historical sources, be they culinary, judicial, literary, or medical, from the East and the West." A Jewish dish of chicken with stuffing. Here is the first of the Jewish recipes from the Muslim West. It dates from the 13th century and can be found in the Kitab al-tabih. The title of the recipe in Arabic means a Jewish dish of chicken. Chop the chicken giblets and mix with walnuts, breadcrumbs, flour, salt, fennel, cilantro, eggs, and water. Take the chicken and put it in a pot with olive oil. Brown it on all sides. Remove the chicken and add the stuffing to the same pot. Cook for 5 minutes while stirring. Set aside. Add the chicken into the pot again with a 1/4 cup of olive oil or more. Cover and cook over low-medium heat for 45 minutes. Finally, put the cooked chicken in a dish and dress with the stuffing around it. Sprinkle the dish with chopped fennel, chopped rue, mint leaves, and toasted walnuts.
I used a whole chicken. For the bread, I left 2 slices out overnight so it would dry, and then I cut it into small cubes, which worked very well.
A 1/4 cup or 36 grams of chopped walnuts. 18 grams of flour is about 1/8 of a cup. A tablespoon of salt, kosher of course.
I chopped up the root and the stalk of fennel.
For the handful of cilantro, I'm just picking the leaves off the stems, putting them in the bowl. And we need 2 tablespoons of mint leaves, which I'll get fresh from the garden here.
3 raw eggs.
Here is the ingredients list, which calls for a whole small chicken, a 1/4 cup of chopped walnuts, a 1/4 cup of bread crumbs, 1/8 of a cup of flour. It calls for a tablespoon of salt, but that's actually way too much, and probably 1/2 teaspoon would be plenty. It tasted pretty salty. Chopped fennel, 1/4 cup, a handful of fresh cilantro, 3 small eggs, a tablespoon of water, 2 tablespoons of mint leaves, 3/4 of a cup of olive oil. Turns out my chicken didn't have any giblets in it, so I can't add the giblets, but I'm going to put the rest of these ingredients, the breadcrumb, walnuts, flour, salt, fennel, cilantro, the water, and the eggs all get mixed together. This becomes the stuffing. It's nice and stirred up. Some of the olive oil goes in the bottom of the pot at this time to brown the chicken. Put maybe about half of it in there. I've got oil in the pot, and I'm going to put that over the fire and heat it up, and then put the chicken in there to brown. The chicken goes into the hot oil. After browning the chicken on all sides, I took it out of the pan and placed it onto a dish. I did wash this dish between the raw chicken and now. Next, we put the stuffing into the pot. The recipe calls for cooking the stuffing for 5 minutes. I cooked the stuffing until it was browning in the pan, and then take it out of the pan. We put the chicken back in. This has the appearance of a pretty traditional stuffing for chicken or turkey, although it doesn't have onions and it doesn't have the spices that would typically go into a stuffing. So we'll have to wait and see how this tastes. It looks pretty good though. We'll let that cook for 45 minutes. I'll probably turn it in 30 minutes. Looks like it's cooking pretty well. The inside's looking done. It's got another 15 minutes to go, and then I'll check its temperature. I'm going to turn it over now. Looks like it's cooking real well. It's actually been about an hour, and I'm going to check the chicken. It certainly looks done. The inside, there's no red. The inside of the thigh is not red. Nice and brown at the top. I'm using my medieval digital thermometer to check the temperature. Well, that's plenty good. 207. We wanted about 190 for chicken. 208. 202. Here is the finished chicken with the stuffing placed around it, covered with some mint leaves. I think mine looks even better than the picture in the recipe book. All right, so green beans with beets and feta, balsamic vinegar, and pecans. So the chicken has walnuts in it, and then the cauliflower has mushrooms. That looks fabulous.
Mushroom wine sauce.
Mushroom wine sauce on cauliflower. Excellent.
The chicken was great and the stuffing turned out very good, although it did not have the traditional spices we think of in our stuffing that we put in our Thanksgiving turkeys. It was a little salty because the recipe, I think, had a mistake on the quantity of salt. So if you use less salt, it would actually be really good. And you could add other medieval spices such as strong powder or powder deuce to this to give it additional flavor as well. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe to my channel.